One of the first quests you get in Fallout 76 involves following a group of free radicals to their hideout. My buddy, Tom, and I were playing to get that multiplayer experience in, and while following these free radicals, they split off. One went to a house that looked guarded, and the other off to the side. So I followed the one to the side, not wanting to get blasted to high heaven immediately, and the one I chose quickly started struggling to go up a hill, running up against a wall, getting stuck on trees, and glitching as it tried to follow some path. And that was the moment I thought, oh crap, we broke the game. After 7 real-world minutes, the NPC I was following suddenly switched outfits out of nowhere. After 10 real-world minutes of following this free radical, they led me into a forest and just stopped. I looked around, and there was no hideout in sight. In fact, it took 16 real-world minutes for this free radical to bring us to the hideout. I laughed, I had fun, but I don't know if it's because the game was good. Suddenly, a real-world player who was over 100 levels higher than us, huge dark helmet, showed up and escorted us to exactly where we needed to go to finish the quest. He told us he would lead us to all of the power armor in the game if we wanted, an offer we gladly accepted, and asked him if he'd rather party up with us or if he wanted to just walk and show us where to go. He then went AFK for a moment, waved goodbye, and jump floated away. This is Fallout 76 in 2024. A game that left me wondering, what type of gamer is Huge Dark Helmet and what made Fallout 76 a game for them? Hi, I'm Dave. I was a huge fan of Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas when they came out. I absolutely loved Elder Scrolls Oblivion as well as Skyrim, but I never played Fallout 76. Or 4, for that matter. In honor of the new Fallout show releasing, I thought now would be the time to give at least one of those games a shot, and considering 76's more than well-known rocky launch, I wanted to see how it stands today. For someone new. Like me. The game initially released in 2018, and people were very mad. While some enjoyed the game, it had a lot of controversy around it regarding how it was marketed, way too many microtransactions, and apparently there were no human NPCs, as in 0. Since its release though, 76 has had regular updates. I'm talking 18 major updates since its launch, with the latest one releasing as recently as March 26, 2024. And while some of those are focused on making the game fun for newbies, like me, I'm sure a lot of it has also been additional endgame content for longtime players. So, to start at the very beginning, the game starts up, and after a character creator, here you are, in Vault 76, all alone. Yes, in spite of every update that added NPCs, for some reason, you are just chilling in your room by yourself with nothing but robots to give you gifts on your way out of the vault, and the Overseer's computer terminal that's been left on, vaguely telling you to find some nuclear sites for her. Why are you all alone? Are you the vault drunk or something? It felt weird, eerie, and out of place. Considering all of the patches, you'd think Bethesda would have spruced up the onboarding experience. But nope, apparently this is just how it's always been. You're shoved out of the vault as quickly as possible, given the option to jumpstart to level 20 and some preset builds to take on. Luckily, I knew enough about Fallout 3 to know I like VATS, so I chose that. But new players to the Fallout universe, I'm sure, would be completely lost. Now, I get it. The juicy part of the game is, look at this world that you, Mr. Fallout 76 Vault Dweller, get to populate and create. So we're going to push you into the meat of the game. But even having played a Fallout game, 14 years ago, I had no idea where things were or what did what. How do I activate VATS again? Where do I find details on my missions? Oh, I have to listen to a radio signal to activate a quest or find items to craft something? Okay. There's nothing wrong with this. I just felt like I was thrown into the fire. So, in the version of the game I'm playing in 2024, there were NPCs I'd sometimes come across and a number of quests I was given right off the bat with them. Half of these quests felt totally void of life. For example, someone at the top of a ski resort tower, who I couldn't physically see, wanted me to fix their radio signal. So I had to travel across the world to random remote locations to find parts and craft together what they needed, all while getting into combat. which, unlike the other Fallout games, really feels like the meat of what you do here. Travel and then fight hordes of enemies. The thing is, gunplay, it's You're not going to get fun and responsive gun combat like a Destiny, Halo, or Call of Duty here, so I thought VATS would be fun. But, I forgot this is an always online game, so while normally VATS would slow down time so you can specifically aim and cripple a body part, yeah, it doesn't slow down time anymore. While this might work for sniping, realistically, most of the time VATS just becomes a way to make sure I don't miss my enemy, or I have an 86% chance I won't miss my enemy. The thing that really made Fallout 3 in New Vegas so interesting was the world. It was really, for me, about exploration and the narrative. Combat was fine, but it was kind of just a thing that you did in order to be able to explore. But here, the missions, like my ski resort one, are just clearing enemy mobs as a disembodied voice over the radio, or a robot, or a computer terminal tells you what to do. So the interesting character component is oftentimes missing. Most of these missions seem to just turn into shootouts, because I guess that's what's fun in multiplayer. The times when I was playing with Tom, this was fine, but when I was playing alone, it quickly got monotonous and fast. Another area I found pretty rough here was general exploration. You're given plenty of side quests and main quests to complete. But what if, say, I wanted to just explore a random building, like this Nuka-Cola compound I stumbled upon? Is there anything interesting in there? No. Okay, that's not totally fair. These do, sometimes have story elements relayed through terminals, holotapes, and notes in them, but it's not like I was finding interesting armor or secretly activating some new quest. In fact, if anything, it felt like some of these places could have been meant to be quest content or events that weren't active, so I was actually exploring it for no purpose whatsoever. And it was this sort of thing that, for me, kind of made the world feel unrewarding and empty. That's not to say there are zero interesting missions or stories here. That's not the case at all. In fact, one of my favorite stories was a side mission building I stumbled upon before I knew you could put side quest markers on your map, which actually helped enhance my experience. I had to genuinely focus on the story of what happened to this mining corporation and how to pretend to be an employee so I could gain access into its elite member status, all while reading comedic and biting commentary into insurance companies. But there's this weird dynamic, at least for me, as a newbie to Fallout 76, and pull and tug between the narrative and fun multiplayer. If I was alone, I found myself getting more invested in the narrative, but found the gameplay and experience to be pretty boring. Running through the massive overworld was somewhat of a slog sometimes, and as I mentioned, everything devolved into gunfights. There weren't usually clever ways around this, but if I was playing with my buddy, I was having more fun with the combat, but the narrative naturally took more of a back seat. And the thing is, neither of these elements are done super well. Or super poorly. Most of my thoughts really came back to, okay, if I'm playing a game alone, I'd rather be playing a game that was built and focused for solo play. And while I had fun playing with my friend, that's true of most multiplayer games, and this one didn't really elevate the level of fun I could be having. It sort of just left me wondering, who is Fallout 76 for? Now, one big conceit to Fallout 76 I left out is the camps. The idea behind the OG game, and still to an extent here, is that you are one of the dwellers of Vault 76, and you and your fellow dwellers are setting out to rebuild the world around you. So you're given tons of crafting tools to set up and build. I found some really cool player camps, like this UFO that was fully themed to alien invasion on the inside, and I also found one that seemed like Fallout 76's version of a comic book shop. So I oohed and ahed at the level of detail and work these players have put into their camps, interacted briefly with some things, and after a minute, was done. There wasn't really anything else to do with this. So that was it. So I guess if you enjoy base building or the loop of that, then maybe 76 is just right for you. Maybe that was the draw for Huge Dark Helmet? So that was where I left it. After roughly 20 hours of play, I felt like, sure, I could play this more, I guess, but there's things I'd rather be playing. If you're watching and enjoying the show and want to experience the Fallout world, Fallout 3 and New Vegas are definitely the way to go. This might be nostalgia bias here, but those games were filled with fantastic narrative stories set in the same world, and I have a feeling if you like the show, that might be what you're looking for. If you played those, but still want a great Fallout-style story, I highly recommend watching Silo on Apple Plus. It is fantastic. And if you want something multiplayer, honestly, go play Elden Ring. Wait, Helldivers 2. That. Go play Elden Ring. If you like crafting and the loop of finding gear to make more and more advanced things for a base someone might stop by and see, then this game might be great for you. If you want a chill multiplayer experience where you don't have to think too much, this was about what I got out of the few events my friend and I tried. So there's definitely value in that if that's what you're looking for. Now, is the endgame any good? Maybe. I'm not gonna say that it isn't, but honestly, I just don't have the drive to find out. So there you go. My final verdict of Fallout 76 in 2024 is, it's okay. And you know what? Nothing wrong with that. Thanks to the Fallout show, we here at GameSpot decided to make a whole slew of content around Fallout that you might just enjoy. Like, what are some of the creepiest Fallout vaults? Why not click to find out?